Welcome to my channel. Here are history's secret queens, their true power. Part 1. Egypt, 15th century BC. Hatshepsut was a female pharaoh who ruled over Egypt as king. She was the first woman in Egyptian history to claim the title of pharaoh. But when she died, her successors tried to erase all records of her reign. So why did they do this? Well, you see, back in those days, women weren't allowed to be pharaohs. It was a man's job. So Hatshepsut disguised herself as a man and took the throne. She ruled over Egypt for more than 20 years, longer than any other female pharaoh. She built massive trading networks and embarked on an impressive building program, constructing temples and monuments all over the kingdom. But when she died, her stepson Thutmose III came to power, and he wanted to make it seem like he was the true pharaoh. So he destroyed all the statues and monuments that had Hatshepsut's face on them and tried to erase her name from history. But even though her name was erased from many places, some still remain. Hatshepsut's legacy lives on in the ruins of the great temple complex at Deir el-Bahari. Part 2. China, 690 AD. Zetian is the only female emperor that China has ever had. She seized power after killing her husband, the emperor. And while she was known to be very brutal, she was also a brilliant leader who made many positive changes to Chinese society. She created a civil service exam to help find the most qualified people for government positions, regardless of their social class or gender. She encouraged the arts and sciences and made Buddhism the state religion of China. However, she was also very cruel to her enemies. She had many of her rivals put to death, and she kept a secret police force to spy on her subjects. She also chained women to chariots like horses and whipped them as they pulled her around. Now, despite her cruelty, Wu Zetian is considered a folk hero in China. Statues and temples have been erected in her honor, and there's even a Chinese saying that goes, "A man can be replaced, but not a woman." This is because Chinese men were never able to accept a woman ruling over them, and they eventually overthrew her dynasty. Part 3. Angola, 18th century. Nzinga was a warrior queen who ruled over the Ndongo and Matamba kingdoms in Angola. She led her people in a 40-year war against the Portuguese colonizers. During her reign, she formed alliances with the Dutch and British to help fight the Portuguese. She used guerrilla tactics to weaken the Portuguese, and she was successful in stopping them from expanding their empire. Unfortunately, when she died, the Portuguese took over her kingdom and enslaved her people. However, today she is seen as a hero in Angola, and there is even a statue of her in Luanda, the capital city. Part 4. Byzantium, 541. Theodora was born in Constantinople, the capital of the Byzantine Empire. Her father was a banker, and he wanted her to have the best education possible so she could get a good job. But she had other plans. When she grew up, she became a prostitute, and she made a lot of money. One day she met the emperor's son, Justinian I, and they fell in love. He married her even though his mother, Theodora, didn't approve. A few years later, Justinian became emperor and Theodora became empress. She used her position to help change women's rights in the Byzantine Empire. She helped establish the first women's shelters and hospitals. She also issued a law that allowed women to own property. However, she was also very involved in politics, and she helped her husband make laws that benefited the empire. For example, she helped create a new legal code that made slavery illegal. Part 5. India, 12th century. Razia Sultan was the first Muslim queen of Delhi. She took the throne after her father's death, and she ruled over the kingdom of Delhi for about 4 years. She was a strong and independent ruler who defied the norms of her society. For example, she wore men's clothes, and she kept male courtiers in her court. She was also very progressive for her time, and she implemented policies to help improve the lives of her subjects. Unfortunately, she was murdered by her own brother Rukn al-Din, because he wanted to take the throne for himself. Despite her short reign, Razia Sultan left a lasting impact on Indian history. There's a popular saying in India that goes, "A king is like a woman. Both are incomplete without a kingdom." This is a testament to the impact that she had on Indian society. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. See you next time.